Welcome back to the Nuckhead podcast. Hope you guys are having a good week. I'm not going to talk too long in this intro because, as you can tell, this episode is already pretty long. So I'm just going to jump into it. But today's guest is Big Head Hockey. He's a fellow content creator. He covers the entire league, but he is a Vancouver Canucks fan, okay? The secret's out. So yeah, let's just get into it. All right. Big Head Hockey. Welcome to the Nuckhead podcast. How you doing?
Doing amazing. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Can I call you Big for short?
Yeah. Big H.
Big H. Hey, that's close to copyrighted content, man.
I know.
Big
That's
hog.
crazy. I know. Well, actually, I was inspired by Nuckhead, so it was going to be Nuckhead Hockey, but
I hate that guy.
he sucks.
What do you think of the 8-game losing streak? Which I should clarify, this episode comes out Friday morning. We're recording it Thursday morning, so it could very well be a 9-game losing streak at this point.
Oh wow.
I don't know. But what do you think of the 8 game?
You know what? I think for the Canucks right now, it's just what the doctor ordered. I think the way that they're playing, I'm not going to speak for anyone in the room, but they've definitely lost a bit of their pop from early on in the season, and they're playing a little bit less aggressive. And it's not like they're playing less aggressive to be more tactical. So it kind of feels like the last few games, they kind of accepted the reality of the season. And I think as fans, you just kind of got to go along with it now.
Yeah, I imagine as fans, we know that they go on a win streak. I mean, not really, but they get a couple wins here and there, or some players are showing promising signs, and then an injury happens, or you're forced to trade your franchise player. Those little things. I feel like it makes sense for these guys, even dating back to last season, where it kind of just feels like just as they get the engine started, something goes wrong. A tire pops. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the Vancouver way, though. Or at least the way I've seen Vancouver operate. It seems like every single time they've had a little bit of success on a season scale. So look at 2020 or 2024, or like on an individual level, when Chytil was going, when Lekkerimäki was going, like Demko was going, when Hughes was going, when Pettersson was going. It seems like everyone gets hurt right when the wheels are finally turning. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is a bigger issue, but I just feel like the way this current team is built is any form of genuine adversity seems to kind of throw everything off. And I think that's kind of a sign that maybe the depth isn't there for this squad.
Yeah. And did you catch the Rutherford interview that just came out, I think yesterday?
Oh, about the rebuild, right?
Yeah, he talked about the rebuild, and one of the things, just kind of building off what you said about when things go south, they really go south, is the Miller Pettersson feud, which we don't need to go too deep into, but he did kind of reiterate. Jim reiterated in the interview that it was pretty intense and it did affect the whole team, which we already know. But one thing that he added on was that he doesn't actually think the trading Hughes he doesn't think that trading Miller led to Hughes wanting to leave. In fact, he thinks that it helped, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, okay, I think that's probably fair to say. And I think that Hughes probably would have been willing to stick around if the team was doing well. But I think without Miller and the fact that Chytil got hurt so quickly, it kind of meant that we were exposed down the middle right away. Also, I say I'm a Nucks fan, so I've definitely been catching a lot of it. But
yeah. That actually, you know what? We probably should have started with this in the first place. When I found out you were a Nucks fan, that was kind of a big reveal, because before doing Nuckhead even, I've been seeing your content on Twitter it feels like you've been doing it for a really long time, but I actually don't know. How long have you been doing it? And also, maybe for the people who don't know you, explain how this all started for you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, okay, well, it started in summer 2022. It was me and a buddy at first, but my buddy was a little bit less into it in the long run, and he's a great guy, but it kind of became like a solo project after a certain point. But it was just kind of like posting analytics on Twitter was how it started, and then we had these animated heads. We found this artist. We work with him still, or I say I still work with him, and we get we have these big heads for over 400 guys in the NHL now and outside the NHL. And we just post stats and, random interesting little tidbits, and don't try to take ourselves too seriously. But then I started a YouTube channel about a year ago, and that's been a bit more serious about trying to figure out some answers to questions I see floating around. So, like McKenna versus Stenberg is my most recent video. I'm trying to figure out who's better, like who fits better for what team, like what the weaknesses and strengths are per player. So yeah, that's Big Head. It's been around for a couple of years, and I am a Nucks fan, but I've tried to keep that private for a while. I think at first I was a little worried. I see on Twitter, like once a certain group gets a certain idea, like every single time I post a Nucks, I don't want people to kind of go at me for being a Nucks fan. So I definitely tried to keep that a private thing. And ultimately, actually, I think running Big Head and not being public about being a Canucks fan has led to me being more appreciative of the league in its entirety, I guess. And I don't know. I think the peak of that feeling was actually 2024, which is a little tough. Like right when the Nucks were on the playoff, and they're really going. I didn't really feel the city until like March or April. Like it took a while for me to kind of get excited as a fan, which definitely unique for me. Yeah, a little different though.
It's so like unique, the whole Big Head concept. And I'm glad you explained it, but I'm still like, how did that come about? You found the artist first, or did you think, oh, I want to start talking about analytics, NHL analytics on Twitter, and I need some sort of visual representation, and then you thought of the idea and then you found a guy? Or was it kind of like it was that?
Yeah, exactly that. Actually, I tried doing it on my own first, but I'm a brutal artist. Like I can't do any of it on my own. I can only really use Photoshop. So yeah, I just found a couple guys, got a couple test products. First guy we actually got was Elias Pettersson. Fun fact. And as soon as we saw that, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, this works. And I guess the idea is kind of like, if you want to stand out in some way, you got to kind of have your own thing. And especially on Twitter where everyone's just saying words, like you got to stand out in some way. So I think making it all colorful, and every time you scroll on your page, hopefully like the big red background with Connor Bedard on there kind of catches your eye. That was kind of the idea at first. And then, yeah, I think in YouTube, it's actually pretty cool because like just over the years, like over 400 guys, like anytime I'm talking about a random stat, like in the recent videos talking about like puck touches and, like in the past couple of years in college, and I had all the guys I was mentioning, like Fantilli, Leonard, and Celebrini, and I just have their heads available now, which is pretty cool. And it's kind of its own Big Head hockey thing.
And is it just you doing it now, plus the artist that you have working sometimes?
Yeah, and then I also like there's a couple guys I'm talking to right now about working with long term on Big Head, but it's kind of like it's kind of a tentative thing right now. We're still trying to figure out the details on that.
Dude, I gotta say, like it's such good branding. And, like especially just what you said on Twitter, just people saying words. And the fact that, Big Head hockey was something I don't even think I knew the name right off the bat, but the visuals were already ingrained. Like I said, I don't remember discovering you, which I think is kind of a cool thing. Like you just creeped up into my normal day scrolling on X and which tweets I paused to read, and you guys just became one of them. And I mean, based on your followers, I don't know what it's at right now, but it's tens of thousands, right? I think that's the same for a lot of people. And it's cool now seeing the videos you're putting out. Well, it's crazy now, to be honest, man. And I'm not just blowing smoke. The videos you're making are great. And the Gavin McKenna versus Stenberg one you just put out recently blew my mind. Like I was thinking, I was thinking, how did you put this together so well? The way you explained it, everything was just, and I think if it was just a random video I found, I'd be like, oh, okay. This person just has a very specific talent. That's cool. Great video. But the fact that I've been seeing your stuff on Twitter already and seeing your, because it's not just the visuals, it's not just the drawings, it's also the way you structure the tweets. Like, they're well written. They look professional, and it just creates this feeling of, I trust this source. That you're already good there. So then the fact you had to go and make good videos too, is a little weird. It's a little crazy, man. You should slow down. No, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean, dude? Like I'm impressed is what I'm trying to say, essentially.
Man, this feels great. This is the third time I've gone on the podcast, and every time I get so many compliments, I just feel so good about myself. It's crazy.
Yeah, you should go on them all the time, I guess, right?
I think so. Lifetime guest.
But yeah, anyways, I don't want to put you on the spot, but good work essentially. And for anyone listening who, I mean, I'm sure if you're interested in hockey and you have, especially Twitter or X or whatever, I'm sure you know Big Head Hockey or have read his stuff. But if you haven't checked out his videos, check out his videos. But let's get back to the Canucks. Okay, so 8-game losing streak, possibly 9. Everybody's on the trade block right now, including Elias Pettersson. And you know, you and I have had some talks in the DMs about our feelings toward Pettersson, and we're mostly in agreement. But where do you stand on you know the possibility of him being traded?
I think it's something that eventually, I actually don't even remember what I said about Pettersson, but he's a guy that just gets my noggin going. Like I never really know what to think about Pettersson, especially for the Canucks. But I think his high end skill is still there, but I think he's just not necessarily a play driver at a first line level, like, or at an elite first line level. Like, he can't really carry a line as long as he isn't going 100% every game. So I think for the Canucks, I feel like he's a good mentor. I think he's a good guy to have on the team. Like, he obviously knows what he's doing. Like, I think maybe his best trait is his hockey IQ, which is something that is super valuable to have in the locker room. Especially defensively, like having a guy like that as your 1C is so important. But at the same time, it does feel like, you know, they say it's a 2-3 year rebuild, but realistically, like, you know, you don't get a top 2 pick this year, then, you know, you need a top 2 pick in the next few years. It's going to be like 3 or 4 years maybe before his team's good if things are working out. And then Pettersson's 31 by then. So it's kind of, I don't know. He is a good guy to have on the team. He makes a lot of money, but I've never really cared about that. I think he's going to be a 50, 60 point guy for the next little bit. But if Montreal or Carolina kind of came into the conversation and they really wanted to pick this guy up, like, Canucks have to kind of listen, right? They have to kind of think about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what Rutherford said is I think the quote was, "We're open for business," meaning essentially everybody other than the obvious young guys, they'll be answering calls and listening for. So, you know, Pettersson, I agree. I mean, I don't know about if, you know, I don't think I'm ready to say, and this is probably where we disagree ever so slightly on him, which is, you know, I don't know if I'm ready to say he's going to be a 60-point guy moving forward. Only, you know, I think because I just, you know, I don't understand you know, how this could happen. You know, it's such a weird and quick drop off, right? Like it happened almost overnight. Everybody noticed it. Oh, okay, well, he was injured, but then it just kind of never went away. And you know, he's playing, you know, 41 goal pace in the last 20 games. He's clearly back to some of his scoring ways right now on a bad Canucks team. But yeah, I mean, the flashes of excellence and elite level play and his shot, you know, those things, you know, you go back and look at some replays from even just a couple seasons ago, and it is weird. It's like, what happened? You know, I know him and Miller got into it, and you know what happened there, and if that had an effect on it, I don't know, but
yeah, one thing I noticed with Pettersson is his shot is so slow that he does need a little bit of agility, and he does need to be able to work off of guys in order to score at even strength. Like, if you watch any of his best snipes, like, he usually has a lot of room. And back when he was a rookie, he did have a bit more pop and a bit more agility. And he definitely found, you know, like, he had a couple feet of space, and then he loaded up for a shot against Florida, for example, like in his rookie year. Or like off the rush in Calgary when he was really darting down the lane, and he just nipped it. Like, that was his first ever goal. That was sick, right? But it seems like nowadays, I mean, it's also kind
of the one. Sorry to interrupt, but I just have to. My favorite one, slapper. You know, against Detroit.
Oh yeah, that was sick. I was thinking about that goal, and like, I would be so mad if I was Jimmy Howard. Like, some rookie comes in and just like Gretzky claps it on me. Are you serious? Like I'd be pretty pissed personally. But yeah, Pettersson does need a lot of time and space. And I think, people talk about Tocchet's influence on him, and it definitely in the long run wasn't really working under Tocchet, but at the beginning it did work because he did get a lot of quick rush opportunities and he did have the time and space. And especially with Kuzmenko, like the two of them had a lot of chemistry. So I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Foote as a coach right now. And so maybe that does influence Pettersson. If you had a coach that was maybe trying to, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like the roster is built for Tocchet's coaching, and then Foote is coming in and he's trying to run like it's like a 2-3 in the offensive zone. So you bring 3 forwards high by the blue line. And like, I guess that's probably okay for Pettersson, but you need faster guys with him to do that, and like skilled guys with him to do that. It just seems like a mismatch right now. And then he's 27, and maybe if he wants to win a cup, it is somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I've got a lot of thoughts about him. Like, yeah, I'm so.
I mean, the interesting part too is, he's clearly, like you already mentioned, his defensive play is, one of, like, potentially like one of the best in the league in terms of forwards. And it makes me wonder if that part of his game was, something he focused so, and this is also, just complete speculation and kind of grasping at straws, but if he just like, focused extremely hard on, positioning and how he plays in the defensive zone in general, and like forgot how to score. And now, and by the way, this sentence as it's coming to my mouth, I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm talking about. The fact of the matter is, man, like it is such a weird situation for him, and I'm happy, like he's getting back to normal. Like this season hasn't been bad. He's been injured a couple. Well, for him, he's been injured a couple times and all that, but he's doing fine this year. I think I suppose, I guess that is why his name's coming up in trade talks, because he's doing all right, and now they need to ask themselves, is this the best he'll ever do? Do we need to trade him now while he's showing signs of life, or is this only halfway up where he's going to be next year?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and if you put Stenberg or McKenna on his line, he'd probably be pretty good too. So,
dude,
that's the immediate thing. I think maybe that's what Rutherford's thinking, though, to be fair. So I really doubt Pettersson does actually get traded if we're talking in the real world here. And I think you see a lot of the like around the edges kind of guys go. Like you probably see like 4 or 5 trades. Maybe the biggest is like Garland, right? But I don't know. I wouldn't want to see Garland go. But yeah, I don't know. I think in terms of play driving, he needs to have a bit more agility, and maybe that's going to come from another season of training, another off season, because apparently he had a great off season this year, and then he comes back, he's looking a little better. Maybe he does that again, he really dials it in, and then he can get back to where he was. But it feels like a lot of his play driving kind of came from being a great shooter and then having a good sense for finding a good pass. I don't know. It's not like he's dominating the ice at any point. And then even when he's getting 100 points, it's more like a savvy 100 points than like a game breaking 100 points. So I don't know.
What do you think's going on with Boeser? No goals in 21 games.
Oh man, that's, what? I think he's extremely snake bitten, and he's probably having a really rough time on the ice right now. But like, I don't know, man, he's pretty slow, and he kind of, he's a guy that needs a Miller, or he needs a guy who's going to help him out in the offensive zone, and he doesn't have that now. Like, isn't he playing with David Kampf? That's pretty rough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he's kind of content with I don't know. He's going to break the streak at some point. I think that's his biggest focus, and then he just wants to get a couple more goals. But this year might just be a write-off for him.
Do you think he's part of the future of the Canucks? Looking ahead 3-4 years.
They would have to value him at a certain point, but I think it might be something where they don't really choose that right now, which is a little tough. But I don't know how many teams want to pick him up, considering he just signed that long-term extension and he's having a pretty rough year. And it
Yeah.
also doesn't seem like he fits that many teams, like just his style of play. So I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he goes somewhere, but I think if he gets traded, you're not getting assets back. You might even be doing like a line A for Boeser thing, which would be a little rough.
Oh yeah. See, I don't know, man. I think I do agree with, you know, there's going to be a lot of trades this year. I mean, there should be. I think. Obviously, Sherwood. You mentioned Garland. I know there's interest for him. Interest in him coming from around the league right now, and I get it. I mean, if you watch any of his games, man, he's like the most hardworking player pretty much every night. And the thing is, though, like that kind of guy, I would imagine you'd want to keep around for a rebuild, right? Like, having guys, Sherwood, Sherwood's kind of the same vibe. They're very different players, but in terms of, you're watching the game, you're going to see Garland, you're going to see Sherwood, you're going to notice these guys, the effort they're putting in, they're always in the scrums, they're always right crashing the crease, everything, right? And getting rid of both of those guys right before you announce you're going into a rebuild with a bunch of young guys, I don't know, like it just seems counterproductive, right? You especially also, what I learned from your video is if the Canucks end up with McKenna, it kind of seems like he might need some leadership from a guy that puts everything on the ice every single night, right? Because he doesn't, cool. Right? Don't you think? I mean, like that you said that's one of his biggest weaknesses, right? Is that McKenna kind of gets lackadaisical sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think Garland would be the perfect guy to have on his line. Or actually Sherwood would probably be ideal, but I really feel like Sherwood's got to go and Kane has to go no matter what, just based on their age, contract, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I do like keeping Garland. Like that would be pretty sick. I think he really loves wearing the crest, which is important, I think, for this next era of Canucks, because it's been a lot of off ice issue, and I don't know, it's been a lot of people that don't feel like they love playing for Vancouver. And whether or not that's the case, or whether that's just like an idea you get from a media story or whatever, but it does feel good to see Garland get super fired up about the Canucks. And the same goes for Demko. Like that's the guy you kind of want just for the culture, I guess. Like,
yeah, totally.
Want to be there. Yeah.
I value that extremely high when it comes to players. Probably too high, but I just think that
it's important though, right? Like for being a fan, like you want them to know that you're all on the same page. Like you need to win for this city.
Yeah, if you feel like a guy like Myers too, and Boeser, Boeser is from Minnesota, right? But he's a Vancouver right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like he wants this city to win as well, And when you become part of the city in that way, I think it just is so beneficial. Like you have the Sedins, like these guys are from a different country and they're still here helping the team out. Obviously they grew up here from, the age of like 18 or 19, and it makes sense. They started their family here, why they're still here. But at the same time, I think, I don't know. I just think that's so important to have guys that really want to be on the team. And I know that is an obvious thing to say, but these days, like you said, I mean, that's the one thing I'm not going to miss about Quinn is not knowing if he's committed, like as good as he was, that was not a feeling that I enjoyed having. And sure, you can blame everything, on management, ownership, whatever, the players, injuries, Miller and Pettersson, whatever. But like the fact of the matter is, there were a ton of guys going through that, not just Hughes, and these other guys stuck around. And like you mentioned, Garland and Demko and Boeser signed extensions right after that. So I think, I totally agree. Like these guys, I'd love to have stick around. What do you think about Jake DeBrusk being talked about lately? I don't know if there's rumors, but
being traded.
Yeah, people are definitely talking about or questioning. Is he somebody that could go? I know he got a no move, right?
Yeah, he does. I think he could go though. I think he probably is looking for a cup more than anything at this age. He's been in the league for a long time and he's played on a lot of good teams, and
he's come close to, or he already won one actually.
No.
Sorry, my
finally, yeah. 2019 Game 7, man. That's so tough if you get all the way there. And I don't know, like it's kind of like Burrows, who almost won the cup, and then now he's in his, late 20s, early 30s. Like he might want to go win a cup somewhere, even if he has to give up on where he chose to be his home.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's a personality thing. I think he's a family guy, so maybe he wants to pick somewhere close. Like I saw Edmonton being brought up, and I don't know. I wouldn't hate that. That'd be kind of nice.
What could we get from Edmonton for a guy like DeBrusk?
I think you got to do like, I don't know. You're not getting any of the top guys, but you might get like a decent pick, and then maybe you get one of their depth. I mean, you get Pud Colson back. Honestly, maybe they love him though. They love him though. So
I don't think this. I don't even know. Like, even if the management group wanted him back, like, would they even do that?
yeah, that'd be a little tough. Be a tough look. It's just accepting an L, I guess. Yeah, that's tough.
I wonder if they could package DeBrusk on, to Edmonton and sneak, a retained Evander Kane in that deal.
Ooh, I think Kane could go to like Florida or Tampa or something. That's what I've been thinking for a while. Like it's one of those teams that just needs some guy for the first or second round who's just going to start beating up on the other team.
Yeah,
I think some playoff teams might want him. Vegas could want him.
Imagine he goes to Florida and it's Edmonton and Florida in the final.
Man, that'd be crazy. Man,
remember Marion Hossa back in the day, like switching teams and kept losing?
every single year, and then he finally won one.
Yeah,
and then he finally won 3. Actually, damn.
Yeah. No, he worked for it.
He did. Evander Kane, he's working for it right now. He's putting in work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed with his season, to be honest. I think everyone hated him, like not everyone, but a lot of people hated him right off from the second he got traded here. But
I feel like he's been what Evander Kane should be, and I actually think out of all the guys that maybe Foote, it's his first year coaching, maybe there's some guys he doesn't really have figured out yet. I think he knew what Evander Kane was from day one, and I think it's that project has been successful. Like him and Pettersson together, the analytics are pretty strong. Kane never plays any defense, and Pettersson kind of covers up for him, and then Kane's always high in the neutral zone, gets a kind of a bad shot off the rush. It's like, okay, that's what he's supposed to do. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think especially on an expiring contract, you got to assume he'll be traded, or they're going to try to trade him, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that's kind of what Kane's going to do for his hometown team. It's nothing, like too crazy, but he stopped here for like a quick second and got us a third round pick or something.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be nice. Yeah,
I feel like that we could get that.
Yeah, I think a good team could maybe even get a second out of him. Like if you're a well-managed team, you create the bidding war, because I don't know, he was pretty good in the playoffs last year. I think everyone kind of liked how he played. And then the big problem this year was his contract. But if you retain half, and then it's also the end of the year, like the contract doesn't matter nearly as much. So yeah.
Well, you know what you do? You trade Sherwood to a team, and then you go to that team's rival that's in a playoff race, and you go, hey, you're going to need a guy that can go up against Sherwood, and we've got Evander Kane.
Yeah, that's why I think Sherwood's going to the Central somewhere just to beat up on Hughes.
Yeah, I've always thought the Stars, man. That
makes sense. I could see that. I could 100% see that. I could see Boston going for it too, just because they love that. Boston could be all over our guys. I could see Garland for Middlestat. I could see that being a trade that happens.
Is that something you want?
I don't know if I want that. But I could see it happening, which, maybe that's because there's a bit of a style that the Canucks have had during their retools and rebuilds where they go for projects before younger pieces, but maybe it's a little different this time. Maybe they're going for the first round picks.
It seems that way. I mean, Rutherford, in that interview I mentioned, he said, like, I think, quote, or I'm not going to quote it because I'm probably wrong, but he said something like, I'm okay with an ugly year if it means a high pick. And so, I know he's been on record also like saying, they want picks, but also potentially players under 25, which is, why they grabbed a guy like Rossi. And I don't hate that. Yeah. I mean, I think, like, what is the problem that people have with a team in a rebuild getting guys who are already 3 or 4 years into their development? I don't understand why that's.
I think the problem is that usually if a guy is being traded at that age, it means that something went wrong in their development somewhere, or the team doesn't have as much faith in that guy anymore. And
that's a great point, actually.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of the time it always feels like the first year you get them is the most exciting year, because it feels like they could be anything. And then once you see the faults kind of creep up and they sneak down the lineup, like like remember when Lucas Reichel came to the team, and it was exciting the first game, and he had the speed, he was really working through the rush a lot, and then it was like, okay, game 2, he played a little bit less, I think, and then by the end of it, like he was playing no minutes, and now he's like he's a healthy scratch. Like, I don't know, like you kind of realize, okay, this guy isn't really worth it. You trade a 2nd-round pick for Lyndon Bay. That's always a tough look.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, that is a good point. I guess there would be room though for getting one of those guys from a team that is in a win now window who might be okay, even if they are excited about a guy. Like obviously the Quinn Hughes trade is not a fair example, but Minnesota getting rid of Bouillon because they want to win now, even though they still had faith in him, right? Obviously.
That was a good pickup.
Yeah.
Crazy pickup. Actually.
We don't have another Hughes to trade, obviously, but if you do manage to package a DeBrusque or a Sherwood to a team that is right on the cusp and maybe sees their window closing a little bit, kind of like Dallas. I mean, I don't know. Nah, Dallas isn't. Their window's not closing, but they've been so close for so long that I could see them giving up a guy like a Maverick Bourque, who I don't think they're giving up on him. He's still young. I'm sure they probably see a vision of him in the future with their team. But
how would you feel if Maverick Bourque turned into like a Brandon Sutter kind of player? Like how does that make you feel as it like right now? Like how do you feel inside when you hear that?
Well, first thing I'm thinking is trying to remember exactly what Sutter brought. Like I liked Sutter when he was here. Also, well, what the hell happened, man? COVID ended his career.
I know. Yeah. I think he was a little injury prone, and then I don't know. Like he was a good two-way guy, and he was a really good guy in the locker room, but I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to train over COVID, and he just kind of gave up.
I'm pretty sure. Like I'm pretty sure he had long COVID. I think he got COVID, and he was one of the rare situations where like it actually like completely fucked him up.
Wow, I did not know that. Wow, yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna Google that real quick because I don't want to become like a podcast that spews misinformation. Let me see this. Brandon Sutter, long COVID. I'm almost positive that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it says right now on Sportsnet.
Yeah, long COVID derailed his career. And this is a dude who was like blocking 100-mile-per-hour shots from the blue line. Like it's crazy that's what got him.
That's insane. And hey, Marco Rossi's the other guy who got long COVID.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Fun fact. Well, actually, not fun fact, but. Yeah.
Jonathan Toews too, I think, right?
Did Toews had like Toews went to India. Toews figured it out in India. That's pretty fair. I don't know. Like you never see a guy do that. Like take 2 years off and try to solve his mind and soul and then come back. Like
that's wild. He did have long COVID. Anyways, sorry, you asked me if Maverick Bourque turned into a Sutter guy and the Canucks had him or Sutter type player.
Yeah. No COVID.
Let's put a label on Sutter. Would you call him a third line center?
Yeah, like the kind of like a decent third line center.
And we're giving up who? Sherwood?
Yeah, we're giving up Sherwood.
I'd be happy with that. I mean, assuming there's like a pick involved. Because I think
the third round pick.
You think a third? Because like the Canucks said they want a player and a first round pick, right? For Sherwood.
Yeah.
And I've heard I can't remember the source. So just kind of trust me, bro moment. But I heard that apparently a team offered a second and a prospect, and the Canucks turned it down. So they're really like, no, we want a first and a prospect, and they think that's what they're going to get. So if it's Maverick Bourque, I don't see why it wouldn't be him and at least a second.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't be if you got a second out of that too. I'd be about that. I would definitely love that, especially because Sherwood's just found money for Vancouver. But I don't know, like. I think Maverick Bourque's ceiling is, I mean, Brandon Sutter might be best case scenario where he's like a 40, 50 point guy, but then maybe he's just like a Teddy Bluger or like a David Kampf maybe. Like it gets a little hairy because he's already 24 and like, I don't know. After a certain point, like he's only 3 years younger than Pettersson and he's still a prospect. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe do like a Hoglander for Bourque kind of thing, or you try to get into that avenue.
I have been seeing Hoglander's name pop up now.
Yeah.
Well. I mean, everybody's
guy though. I love the guy. I would hate to see him go, honestly.
It's just shame because he has so many great tools, right? I mean, he's a little bit like Garland. He's a little bit like Pettersson in his creativity offensively. Yeah, it's a real shame. Like if
Great
he
hand.
actually does get, yeah, dude, he thinks the game differently, and you can tell he's one of those guys. He just doesn't have the skill level to be like he has. Okay, here this is gonna be a hot take potentially,
Okay.
but I think he has the type of hockey IQ that 80-point players do in terms of just thinking a bit differently. He'll go for high risk plays through the
Yeah.
legs, or just do something where you're like, oh, that was weird, but it worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he just doesn't have the skill to pull it off as consistently.
Yeah.
And that makes him like a very interesting type of player, right? Because he he he's fast, and he plays a tough grindery type game, but also he's got a 20-goal season under his belt already. I don't know. I just think if he can put it all together,
Yeah.
he should be at least like a 15-goal guy for his career. At
Yeah.
least.
It also feels like if you get him in the right situation, he could be like the perfect third liner.
Yeah.
But it is a little tough. Like that one year he had almost 20 goals. It's kind of like when Adam Gaudette got almost 20 goals. Like, I don't know, maybe they have a similar career where like you can have one year where you're really just everything's kind of going in, but I don't know. I don't think he creates enough shots to really be there. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I really can't figure it out. Like he does seem like he does have a lot of skill. Maybe he's not the best off puck. Like maybe he's not the best at getting into, strong areas of the ice, but I don't know. Maybe he's not strong enough, along the boards. Maybe he needs to win more puck battles if he's going to be along the boards all the time, or
Yeah.
he's not shifty. I don't know. I mean, he's all those things though. Like I would think of him as a smart player who's skilled with a good shot, who's strong and shifty. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's a guy you keep though, just to have him on the team and just to see what you got.
I think it's also finishing as well, because there's times when you'll see him protect the puck and get past the D-man, break in and get a chance and either miss the net or pass gets deflected. Like,
Yeah.
kind of like Chytil, honestly.
Oh man.
Chytil. I remember when he got traded here last year. The one thing I heard about him, besides the injuries, was that he's a great puck carrier, great at zone entries, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And usually, when you hear a report on a player, I feel like, at least for me, it takes a couple games before I'm like, oh yeah, they are good at that. But first time he touched the puck with the Canucks, he just like a warm knife through butter, skates it into the zone like effortlessly. But then
good at skating, man.
Oh yeah, and puck like he gets in every time. Maybe it's because he's not afraid of getting hit or something. Would make sense on it, like because there's something different about the way he plays. Like you'll see the team try to gain the zone, doesn't work, especially on the power play. He gets it, he's in, but then he'll bad pass or a pointless shot or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, because he's a bigger guy who can skate. Like that's the same kind of breed as Martin H's, but yeah, it seems like once he's in the zone, he's not really. He doesn't have the in zone offensive skill, but like just being able to transport the puck, that's so useful. Like for a guy like Boeser,
Totally.
if Boeser's already a little high, and then you have Chytil on his line, like that could work really well for you. So I don't. It's really tough. He went out. That right there kind of ended the season.
Yeah, man, that was so rough. Do you think he's coming back?
Oh man, I almost hope he doesn't. Like, or I don't know. Like, I hope he ends up being fine. Like it would be really nice if he played for this team long term. But concussions are such a crazy thing, and he plays a style of game that other guys know they can go after him. Like, remember Nolan Patrick a couple years ago when he played for Vegas, and I think McKinnon just hit him one time in the head, and then his career's over. And I don't know. If he thinks he's fine, if the doctors think he's fine, then I'm not going to question him, and it's his dream. But like, it is a tough look. Like, if he goes out another time with a concussion, I'll feel so bad watching that game. Like, I don't know.
You got to think, if he does come back, it's one more maximum, right?
Yeah. Well, I almost wonder if people said that before this year, though. Like, that's the crazy thing. He got the concussion last year, right, from Dickinson. So
yeah. Oh man.
It's like 2 concussions. He's played like 20 games for us.
He's on the road trip right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's good.
I don't know if that means, he's still far away and he's just kind of getting back in the groove of things, or if they actually think he's going to play sometime in the next couple of games. I don't know.
Maybe he's like lonely. He just wants to hang out with the guys.
Yeah, maybe.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you though that when he went down, the Canucks center ice position before Rossi came here was already so thin. And yeah, game 3, I think it was it game 3?
It was game 6, but he had 3 goals.
Right, game 6. Okay, yeah, against Washington, and that was. Oh man, I was so mad, so mad.
What do you think about the trade to pick up Marcus Pettersson?
Oh, dude, good question. I know that a lot of people are talking about that right now. Okay, so I think first of all, he hasn't had a good year. He really hasn't. Too many penalties. First thing I noticed. He's already surpassed the amount of penalties he got with us last season. Which I mean, he's played more games, but I think he got
more than doubled it.
Yeah, more than like pretty quickly too. So he's struggling a lot this year, and I'm not entirely sure why, because it's not like his partner changed, and it's not. I don't think. I mean, obviously Hughes now being gone, things have changed, but prior to that, I don't think his role changed. I know the coach changed, and I'm probably like what he's being asked to do changed, obviously, but like I don't know. I'm not really sure what happened. I'm just chalking it up in my head as like, oh, it's a down year. But he seems, the thing I like about him is he's, first of all, he's, knock on wood, he's pretty indestructible, right? I mean, he's reliable. He doesn't really get injured that often.
Good point.
And I like that it's not like he doesn't play a game where he could be injured. I see him get crushed a lot, and every fight, he's never scared to fight, and he always gets the shit kicked out of him.
I think there's a stat that he's actually the most hit player like in the NHL by a margin.
Yeah, I mean, what a I'd be proud of that if I was him, because he's fine. He's chilling. He's
bouncing out like every single time. He seems like he's okay, and he's not missing any games. It's crazy though. Like this guy's like, he's built, like 6'5", 170, and he's getting rocked every single game, and he's fine. Like
he drops the gloves with scary opponents.
Yeah, and he does get rocked every single time too, but he doesn't give a shit. Like he just goes for it every single time.
Domi just beat the hell out of him, laughing.
Beat the hell out of him, laughing at home.
Yeah,
it didn't do anything. They didn't score after that. They didn't. I mean, maybe they were a little fired up, but like he just kind of did that for fun. Like,
yeah, he's nuts. I did a video when we first acquired him, and I can't remember exactly what the list was, but it was something crazy. It might as well have been like he fought Wilson, Reeves, Olivier, or something like that. And you look at the highlights, it's like, oh yeah, he lost every single one. He's sticking up for the goalie here, sticking up for a rookie here. And I almost think like the bench, when he drops the gloves, they're like, hell yeah, like they love it, and then they're always like, ooh, at the end.
The guy just got rocked, their number one defenseman. Yeah, I guess it is tough. I think really the problem with him kind of comes down to our system, though. I actually think it's an Adam Foote thing.
I mean, it must be, right? Like,
he's not that fast, and I think he's got like a good head for how to make the right play. Like he seems like he knows what's going on, but I don't think he's good enough defensively to patch up other guys around him. And he's been working with Myers all year, right? Is that the pairing? And
I think most of the time, I think that's like the default.
Yeah, I think the two of them together, like if you put Pettersson with like maybe if you put him with like Willander or something, like where like Pettersson could be the more defensive guy, Willander's a little more offensive, maybe that could work. But I think having two trees back there where both of them have to make these quick reads, I don't know if that's really the best plan for them. And I think that's probably the big fall off for Pettersson this year. But I think he's fine. Like in the long run, I think he's fine.
I think he's fine. And I guess to answer your question, like, do I like to trade? Because I know we gave up a first rounder for him and Drew O'Connor. And I guess
good point.
I guess it's still a bit too early to say how I feel. Like, it's easy to say now that the Canucks shouldn't have got rid of that first rounder, but they had Hughes back then, and they wanted to keep him. So, a lot of the people that are upset about that trade in hindsight, it's fair. I understand, but it's kind of like, I think if you go back, you're going to make that trade again, because Hughes staying with the team was still a possibility then. So, I mean, you got to do that. You got to make your team better. I think it was fine for what it was. Is it aging well? Not entirely, but
no,
but
not all actually. I'd say, not to be crazy, but
yeah, no, I agree with that. But again, like, it's been barely a year, and the NHL is crazy. Canucks are in the top 5 of the league next year, let's say. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's pretend we're talking about it entirely differently. So I think it's just, and by the way, that's not actually a good point against it being a bad trade, but I just think kind of like we got to wait a bit longer, probably a couple of years before we can, and also, the player that Pittsburgh picked with that pick is also an important part of it. Like who's that going to, who did that turn out to be? Who did they pick? Do you know?
So yeah, actually so the pick was actually Jack Nesbitt, which is, like if you're looking at, top 15 picks that year, maybe that's one you're a little happy with, but Pittsburgh actually traded back. So they traded the Nesbitt pick and they got Will Horkoff and I think Bill Zonin or something.
Wait, Horkoff flipped the pick that we flipped?
Yeah. So they had 2 first-round picks out of it.
Oh, dude, I missed that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, like Will Horkoff is playing unreal. He's like goal per game at Michigan. So that to me is like, if you had Will Horkoff on this team, like a 6'5" freshman at Michigan who's killing it, like that'd be pretty cool. But I don't know. Like it does make sense at the time. And, if you look at the window and what the expectations were to start last year, like it makes sense. Like missing the playoffs was seen as a huge failure. So I get them really trying to kind of get back in there and kind of try to sweep it under the rug. But yeah, it's tough in hindsight now that they're rebuilding.
I do think again, kind of like the intangibles we talked about before when we were talking about, the importance of having guys that want to be here. I think that what Marcus Pettersson does provide is a little bit of that, but also, I mean, I guess a lot of that because he signed so quickly. But the big thing I was going to say is just his vibe in the dressing room from everything I've seen is like he's kind of a lighthearted dude. And he obviously sticks up for his teammates, even if he gets his ass beat. I think when you're putting together a team that's going to be filled with a bunch of young 20-year-olds, he probably would be a guy to keep around, especially because his contract's not terrible. I don't hate that. And
I actually, I do like his contract a lot.
What is he, 6'6" or something? That's another part too. Like Meyer is probably either retiring or going to be traded at some point fairly soon, I think. And that means you're losing a tree back there, right? So having because I mean, without those two, our D's kind of small.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It is a good point. It's also a hilarious clip.
Wait, there's a clip for it?
No, just saying our D's kind of small. But anyways.
Oh shit, that's actually really funny. Oh my god. Yeah, we do actually have it. Yeah. Okay, I can contribute to that. But I do feel like having Pettersson back there and the range is useful. But if we did flip him for a first-round pick, like if we could get even a late first and kind of like, okay, let's just bring up DPD and let's bring up Mancini and just kind of let the young guys go for a little bit. And then, in the off season, maybe you try to sign an older Ian Cole kind of guy. Maybe you try to pick up Brendan Dillon from New Jersey and you take a pick to pick him up or something. Like maybe that's the smarter rebuilding choice. And maybe try to fill the veteran void with bad contracts instead of, because I think Pettersson's on a great contract right now. Like I think a team would be, Marcus. I think people would be really happy to pick him up. So
especially like you said, especially a team that is in the hunt.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I mean, they got a lot of tough choices ahead. I don't envy their position, this front office, because like if you look at what the team was supposed to be 2 years ago, or from when they came into where it is now, it did seem like they actually had a plan, and it seemed like the plan kind of worked under Tocchet, where you build around the big core 4 or 5 guys, and then you try to add guys who can really forecheck around him, and then they were a great team for 1 year, and then they had the beef the next year, and now everyone's gone. So
you know what, man? I think the biggest mistake, and I obviously a few more years before I guess I would die on this hill, but as of right now, I would chalk all this up to the decision to keep Miller over Horvat. And, obviously going like back then, I actually was team keep Miller over Horvat. So like, I'm not saying that, that decision in the moment was a bad one, but in hindsight, I think, I'm not saying the Canucks would have a cup right now, but I do think that simple decision, that one thing is what caused all of this, truly.
I think if you go back like 6 months before that to the Genther trade, or actually, I don't know if that's
Yeah.
I think, yeah, just taking on the OEL salary I think that's why we couldn't keep Horvat, because we had 8 million in OEL. And
That's a good point. That's a good point.
yeah, and then we also would have had the Eriksson contract would have been off the books, and the Beagle contract and everything. And then I guess also Dylan Genther on the team would be sick. Because I also, yeah, I think there's no doubt they would have taken Genther. It just made so much sense at the time. So,
Genther and Petey when, playing together.
yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, maybe you don't get Kuzmenko then, and maybe it's a whole different timeline, and you don't get Garland. That's another good point. But I don't know. That trade kind of sewered the team. But I think the fact that one trade sewered the team is kind of a testament to the fact that it wasn't that well built to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good point too. The OEL trade is one of the strangest moves. Like the further we move forward, the more it just is like, what exactly were they thinking? I've been on I've been made fun of for my take that at least we got Garland, and I don't hate the trade because we ended up with Garland, and I do see the like ridiculousness in saying that, but I won't die on that hill. It's just hard for me to say I wish that trade didn't happen, knowing that means I also wish we didn't have Garland. But yeah. I mean, it was weird. It was totally strange at the time. I think I understood the concept, but I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. The whole thing is completely out of my league in terms of understanding what they were doing. Because I do believe like they probably had a plan. I know some people say that might have been ownership meddling. They were like, no, we want a playoff team now. Like, go get someone who could help.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know. I still feel like I don't want to say anything mean about this team, but I think the way that they saw their franchise and the way they managed the franchise back in the late 2010s and early 2020s was so ridiculous that I think they kind of knew it was over. And I think Benning maybe, like, there's no chance. Like, if you look at how that was built up, they could not accept the idea that they had to retool again after missing the playoffs in 2021, like in the COVID year, because they lost Tanev, they lost Markstrom, and they lost to Foley. And all three of those guys, if they were on the team, they wouldn't have had to make the OEL trade. They probably would be in the playoffs in 2021. So the fact they signed bad contracts that lost them a bunch of talent, they tried to recoup by trading young talent and make some win now moves to try to get back to where they should be. And then it's like, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't blame him in the sense that at that point they wanted to make the most of the young core, but they should have had a longer plan back then. And yeah, it's a good thing Benning is not managing this team anymore.
No, I agree. And I think, yeah, I mean, there's one thing, like, we got to just say it like it is. You know what I mean? Like they fucked up, to be honest. I mean, that's just what it was. And it's okay to say that. Like, I don't think I'd take it as far to be like, oh, they were bad at their jobs and everything they did was bad, because, Benning also got us JT Miller, which, I mean, well, maybe that aged badly, but I would say he's one of the best Canucks to ever play with the team, and they got him for pretty cheap considering what he ended up being. So you sorry?
I'm a big Miller guy. Like, I do love what he brought to the team.
Yeah. How do you feel about everything that's going on with the Rangers and how he's responding to it? I see the Rangers fans are starting to hate him.
I can't even lie. I think I mean, again, this is purely just a guess, but I feel like if I was a New York Ranger and I kind of felt this season happening and the leadership group didn't really seem like it cared that much, I would probably just be going to, Manhattan clubs and spending my money on nice dinners. I feel like that's probably to a certain extent what's happening. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any dog left in the fight, and I think a lot of guys kind of know this year's kind of over, and it's leading to some super ugly games. Like yesterday against Ottawa, I don't know if you caught that game.
Oh man, what happened?
My God, they were down 4-0 in the first period, and they lost 8-4 ultimately.
Like, what?
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, I was editing yesterday.
First period was just like a disaster. Like, I think that was probably the worst period of pro hockey I've seen. And then, like, afterwards, like, they were fine more or less. They got a couple goals, but like, they just came out the gate so flat. And yeah, I don't know. Like, and then that was after they got dogged. That was on home ice again. And that was after they lost. They were down 6-0 at one point, actually. That's important to point out. 6-0 in the second period on home ice. Ridiculous. So I think Miller is he's probably got stuff to worry about outside of hockey now. I think that's his MO this season.
They've allowed 22 goals in their last 3 games.
Yeah. It's not great.
That's
not great
wild.
at all. Yeah. And they're also the most shutout team in the league this year. So how many times have been shut out? It's like 6 or 7 times.
Wait, what about, is Shesterkin injured or something? What's going on?
Oh yeah, Shesterkin just got injured. Fox just went down with an injury. It's
so
just
who gave up these 22 goals? Is that Quick?
Oh
yeah, it is Quick. It says Quick.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and he started the year so well too. Like he was unbelievable, and then I don't know, man. He's like 40 now. He's a 40-year-old goalie. Like that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean he's a legend. Were any of them soft goals? Did you catch or?
I mean, I don't want to say like he let in a bunch of softies, but like, you know, like I think it was a lot of you probably could have had that goals.
Damn.
Yeah,
man. Well, at least the Canucks aren't the Rangers, because I know the Canucks are having a worse season, but the Rangers had a lot more expectation, I feel like, and they're also not last. And if you're going to suck, you might as well be last.
Damn right. Actually, that's a good point. I think, you know, for a lot of, I think I've been actually pretty pessimistic here on this pod, but I think overall it's a pretty optimistic time to be a Canucks fan. It's just kind of, you just got to say goodbye to this last era of hockey, which was pretty exciting. But I also see a universe where they draft McKenna 2nd overall. They switch to the black skate and they change their goal song, and all of a sudden it's a whole new era. And Lecker-Mackey and McKenna are teaming up, and Coots and Ogren, and it's just exciting. Yeah, but that's definitely in the forest right now. We're in the trees. It's hard to see the whole picture here.
I mean, yeah, it always goes back to like the cheesy sayings, like one door closes, another one opens, you know, because it's true. Like they're cheesy because they're true. People say them all the time because it's like this is
they're damn good sayings.
You know, like it's like a bad breakup. You know, you handle it well, and it's like the best thing that ever happened to you. You know?
Absolutely. And it's also tough seeing Hughes doing so well in Minnesota. Like, good for him. You know, you just gotta say good for him.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of like stalking your ex's Instagram.
Except, I gotta post about it all the time.
Yeah, true. Actually, yeah, that's hilarious.
She's dating a NFL player now.
Yeah. Now when I see your tweets about Hughes, I'll know that there's tears on the keyboard as you're typing them.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I feel like I just got to get back to the Devils fans. That's the only way I can really
oh yeah. Yeah, that's another part of the trade, the Hughes trade that worked out well for us.
Oh, damn right. Right. I feel like it's more likely Jack goes to Minnesota than it is that Quinn goes to New Jersey.
Oh, definitely. Or they both go to the Wings or something. Yeah,
I could see that. I could also see them both going to the Rangers, actually, which is a little crazy. Like, I think their family's from New York, and I don't know. Maybe Jack isn't that bad a guy, but I could see him going to New York to team up with Quinn.
You know, if that were to happen, I feel like Miller's got to be gone at that point.
Well, apparently, wasn't Quinn happy to go to New York? Like, he was okay with it. Like, he wanted it to happen.
I don't know if he was. That kind of surprises me.
I feel like him and Miller are actually pretty close. If I had to guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you know what I think you're right. I think what it is he didn't necessarily not like Pettersson or not like Miller. I think it just what was going on was annoying and pissed him off. Because I'm just going off what Rutherford said in that interview where he's like, he thinks that if anything, trading Miller helped the team. But I think I'm reading it the wrong way. It's like, no, I think the same thing would have happened if they traded Pettersson. Hughes just wanted that whole thing to be over. Yeah. And
I think the best case scenario would be they actually made up, but trading him next best.
Yeah, you gotta wonder, man. Like
I know
what happened. And, you know, like so weird. I
feel like there's so many fan theories out there. I got a fan theory, but I don't know if that's a good thing to talk about. Like it is a little like I don't know. I think Pettersson should have been a little bit more prepared for the season. And I think that whatever injury he had going into the playoffs that year, the fact his play dropped off so sharply and it felt like there was no explanation for it, I think that alone was enough to kind of break up a team. Because if your highest paid guy just got the biggest contract in franchise history, scored 100 points last year, is just suddenly, one goal or 2 goals in like 12 playoff games or something, that's such a tough look. Like that single-handedly, if he was better, they could have been in the finals that year or better. They could have won the cup that year. So
Yeah.
that is a really hard thing with Pettersson. It's like I think he knows that too. I don't think he's going around, he's ignorant to that fact. And I think he really tried to change that this year. And I think he is looking better. But like, yeah, it is tough. Like I think if that was the only shot this team had, which I think it is, I think you can probably say whatever Pettersson was dealing with or whatever happened there, like he's probably the biggest factor, like the biggest non-luck factor, like the biggest choice that led to us losing.
Is that your fan theory?
It's kind of a fan theory. Yeah. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about it.
I mean,
I
agree. Like, that could be a factor. I mean, it might, again, yeah, it's so hard to say. It's
impossible to say. There's no knowing. Yeah.
The good news is like, it is for the most part all behind us now. And then like you kind of already said, like, I'm not just trying to be positive. Like I truly feel like, you know what, Hughes being gone and now we're a month after the trade, just over a month, and that wound is healing. And now looking forward, like, yeah, we still got some of the old guys that were part of that team, Pettersson, Boeser, Demko, Garland. And I don't think any of those guys need to go. Some of them might, but yeah, I mean, looking forward, just like you said, like the possibility of bringing in a guy like Stenberg or McKenna is so exciting. And even a Tynan Lawrence, like we're all, I think with the, like, it's a bit funny because I think, I'm already picturing McKenna in a Canucks uniform.
Yeah, 100%.
And anything less than him or Stenberg is going to feel like a failure somehow. But the fact of the matter is, if we were picking 5th or 4th, even, like, that's pretty exciting. We're going to get a good player, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a good player. I do feel a little weird about like Lawrence and Verhoff and Reed and like Malhotra, that next kind of crop, because it does feel like they've all been given a chance to kind of take over, and like, who knows exactly the reason, but none of them really have yet. Like Chase Reed had a really good World Juniors, but he's a smaller offensive defenseman. And then Keaton Verhoff was okay at the World Juniors, but like, he's a right-handed defenseman that is probably going to be a couple years away. We're probably looking for a forward. And then Tynan Lawrence is having a bit of a tough year overall. Like it's a little weird. Like it feels like there is a good top crop of guys, but it also feels like there's a couple landmines in there. Just off gut, though. I don't know for sure.
I don't know much about Tynan Lawrence other than what everyone's been saying about him, and it seems like, yeah, I mean, I have heard he's having a tough year, but I don't know. I think people are pretty excited about
really good though. Yeah, because he's got all the tools. I don't know as much about him, but I know he's definitely the best center. Like, people talking about Caleb Malhotra. Like, I mean, that would be kind of a funny one if they bring up Manny Malhotra and then they have Caleb as well. But I don't know if Caleb Malhotra has the high end skill, and then Tynan Lawrence probably does, but he might be more of a two-way guy, which is, I guess that's cool. But is he a second liner or is he a first liner? Like, I don't know.
I wonder if like that, bringing in a guy like Malhotra and then promoting his dad to the head coach position, if that's also something that might be, you might want to avoid, like talking about team dynamic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know, weird. How could you, like, we are asking for a situation where a player is getting less minutes than Caleb, and you're like, it's because he's the coach's son.
Yeah. I can see that.
I don't know.
I can see Garland being pissed about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that would be a really awkward situation. Like, if it does come down to it and we're picking like 6th or something and Malhotra's on the board, I'd be happy to pick him. But then I guess, like, you probably value Caleb Malhotra more than Manny Malhotra. Like, you got to kind of value the player more than the coach, I guess.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Do you think Malhotra is the coach next year?
Oh, I think so. It's either him or Foote. Because that's my theory. I think Foote is, I think he's like a great, I think he's probably the best assistant coach you could ask for. I don't think he's the best head coach personally, but I don't know him. I don't know him personally, so I don't know. But yeah,
I know that like players like him a lot, Hughes and Bouillon to be specific, but like, yeah, I agree. I mean, he's also a rookie coach, and clearly the difference between head coach and assistant coach is significant enough where it was a big deal, putting him in a position he's never been in. So like, he might not be like, who knows? Like maybe the Canucks see this as a situation where you get a guy in who has been here through the bad stuff and sees the young guys coming up, and maybe like this might sound terrible to some people, but like maybe they're thinking, as long as things are going the way we envision them, we want Foote here for the next 4 or 5 years at least, to start building. Well, I mean, I don't want that necessarily, but like, don't you see a situation like you look at a team like Tampa Bay, and they've had their fair share of failure, not fair share. They've only had a couple of seasons where they really underperformed. Obviously, the one where they lost to the Blue Jackets, but John Cooper's been there through it all, and I just wonder if that's kind of like the playbook that other teams like the best case scenario. Do you know what I mean? Where you have a guy that's been around for a really long time. Malhotra could be that too, though. Malhotra, give him his first NHL head coaching job, put him around all the young guys, let them grow, and they're gonna fail. There's gonna be failures, there's gonna be disappointments, but like keep them around through all that and trust the system. I don't know, if I was in charge of a team, like I would be looking for that, and I imagine every team really is at the end of the day. Like they don't want to have to fire these coaches; they want to have a guy around for a decade if they can. It's just in order to do that, you have to stick through a lot of shitty situations.
I feel like honestly, even with that, like if you're looking for a John Cooper comparison or like a Sheldon Keefe, it's probably more of Manny Malhotra, just because he won the chip with Abby. Yeah, and he probably has a great relationship with half of those Abbotsford guys, and by next year that's going to be half our lineup anyways. So maybe that is the best bet.
Yeah,
I don't know though. Like it is tough, and also I mean, judging coaching is so hard sometimes because you never know what really is like a player fault or a coaching fault, or what is like Malhotra got the most out of the Abbey guys, but then does that work in the NHL? You don't actually know until you see it. So yeah, it is a little different. It's hard to figure out too.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see, man.
I think we will.
I think we're going to wrap this up now, but I want to ask you one last question. Okay. If you're picking first, and I kind of already know your answer to this. Well, I think I do actually know your answer to this, based on the video you just put out. But
okay,
if you're the Canucks and you're picking first, are you picking McKenna or Stenberg? And this is not a prediction. It's more of a like what are you doing? What do you think is the right answer?
I'm geeked out. I mean, okay, first of all, I'm probably calling second overall just to see, like, hey, like, is there a guy you want that maybe we can figure out a package here? Which it would be pretty unconventional, but maybe you call just to see you can get an extra pick out of it or get a player or whatever. Because I don't actually have that strong an opinion either way. I think Stenberg is probably who I'd go with, but it's still so early. And I mean, McKenna is playing really well in NCAA. Like he's not, setting points records, and he's probably not as good as Celebrini in college, but like, it seems like he's still doing everything he's supposed to do. And it feels like he'll be a good NHL player next year. So yeah. And then Stenberg looks like he's just like ready for the NHL right now. So I don't know. I guess Stenberg.
Crazy answer, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No. I think I'll answer too, just so you're not on the spot. I think because I want to see the Canucks succeed sooner than later, I think I go Stenberg, just because I do agree, like what I've seen from him, which isn't a whole lot, like the World Juniors and just, your random highlights here and there and your video. It does seem like Stenberg is going to make a difference quicker.
Yeah. He might be a guy you can just, like for what the Canucks want to do. And like, they already have guys like Bouillon and Willander and Coots and Ogren, and like, they're kind of looking to add the extra pieces. They don't really want to build around McKenna, it feels like.
Yeah. And I also wonder if, they keep Pettersson, and then they look at, okay, we have the first overall pick, and there's this Swedish phenom that can slot into our lineup as soon as next year. what if picking him means revitalizing Pettersson? It's like you're getting two guys, you know?
Yeah, that'd be sick. He's also from a small town in Sweden. So I don't know if this is really the case, but something I've noticed, like whenever I meet a small town Swedish guy and a like a Stockholm big town Swedish guy, very different people, but they love fooling with like small town guys, like hanging out with small town guys. I think Hoagland is a small town guy, so is Petey, and I think they bull. But then like Willander is like a Stockholm guy. You can kind of see how he's a bit more North American kind of. So Stenberg is true Swede kind of thing.
Yeah, like I could see them making that pick for that reason, and yeah, Willander too, like just having that connection, like not like, they all speak the same language. Obviously there's been incredible players and teams that have chemistry from, look at Draisaitl and McDavid, right? They're nowhere near each other in terms of where they're from, but so it's not a huge deal, but I just, and Alvin, right? He's Swedish too. I could I don't know. I could see that being a thing. But my biggest fear, and I mentioned this in my last podcast, is like the reaction from the fan base. And again, not the majority, just the loud little small minority of fans here that would never stop talking about how they should have got McKenna. They should have got McKenna, a good old Canadian kid. Every time Stenberg has a bad game, every time Stenberg makes a bad play, you'd see that. And again, million Canucks fans, 990,000 of them, probably more than that, are chill. They love Stenberg. That he's great. Yeah. But the loud ones on Twitter that make things news and all that would be, oh, you should have got McKenna. And that's not a reason to not pick a guy, but as a content creator and a fan, like that would drive me up the wall for the next decade, man.
Yeah. I feel like it could easily go the other way too, especially if McKenna has to, if it takes him a little time before he figures it out and Stenberg figures it out right away. I could see that also going where there's another subsection of fans that feels like McKenna's all flash and then Stenberg was a smart choice and we bungled it. Like it does seem like the fan base is just active enough that if something goes, like they're active enough and they know what's going on enough. And it's also been a pretty tough decade where I think there's a lot of pessimistic, knowledgeable fans that just love hating on whatever happens.
Yeah, true. And for that group of people, it's a lose-lose, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess, yeah, what I would say is best case scenario, or not best case scenario. If they're picking McKenna, that'd
be awesome. End of the day, yeah, I'm getting the jersey.
Draft them first or second, that's fine. But if they're getting Stenberg, I almost hope they're picking him second, I guess. And McKenna's already off the table.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying then. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you don't want to, you really just don't want to make the choice. You want to pick second. And something I'm really nervous about is if Stenberg goes first, I don't want this front office trying to, like, I could entirely see Stenberg going and then us taking Kynan Lawrence at second or something and just going off the board, which would be
my
Canucks thing to do. But it feels very plausible.
Don't do that to me. I can't. You think that's plausible?
Oh yeah. Just in the craziest way. I remember Ulevy, hey? Yeah. That one was a tough one. Remember they took him over Matt Tkachuk and from London Knights, defenseman Olli Ulevy. That was so tough. And that's kind of the same kind of thing that we could see now. I could see that with Keaton Verhoff, from NCAA or whatever. Keaton Verhoff. Second overall. And it would be a good pick, right? Like you'd be happy with it. But McKenna is so good, like, and he's such a polarizing guy too. Like it just brings people into the fan base. Like you got to pick him, right?
Yeah, I think the only way Verhoff ends up in a Canucks jersey is if they're picking fourth or something. Because if they're third, they're getting Lawrence. I agree with that. They're, they want a forward.
Mm-hmm.
Or just maybe not Lawrence, but somebody, maybe Malhotra even, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And if they're second or first, Stenberg or McKenna, I just don't see them going for a D, which makes me feel better. But yeah, you're right about, I guess, like, I hope this doesn't happen, obviously, but if they go off the table and pick Lawrence above Stenberg or McKenna, I suppose that would be worst case scenario, even though Lawrence is probably going to be a great player. No shade to that guy or that kid, just like,
he's probably gonna be awesome. He's probably gonna be a sick guy. No matter who you pick, like you got to be fired up no matter what. Like you got to be excited for him. Yeah. I think there is one scenario that I've like late night pools with my friends I'm talking about. I feel like if we're at the draft and we're 5th overall or something, I feel like you got to figure out a way to flip Hronek, and then you try to pick one of the right-handed defensemen.
Oh, interesting.
Noah Dobson style, where like you trade him for 2 first-round picks or something, and then you have the guy who fills in right after, and then okay, now you have 3 or 4 first-round picks on top of your picks. Like that could be a good way to really kind of rebuild it. And then I guess Hronek is pretty old now too, and by then he'll be like 29. So whatever this rebuild is, I do like him though. Like for the team, he's so good, and he's really taken a step. But if another team feels like they need right-handed defenseman, like Hronek's probably a top 5 right-handed defenseman in the league. So you could get a ton for him.
But then, fast forward a couple years and your right side is Villander, Verhoff, let's say, and Mancini. Yeah. Like that's
great.
I guess they'll be older, so it's probably fine. I'm just thinking about like that veteran leadership. Myers, like the value he adds to these young guys, I think just being through so much as a player, in terms of, having bad seasons, good seasons. He felt he won the Calder and the expectations that came from that, and how he followed that up in his sophomore season. Like all these lessons he's learned, being traded, playing in America, playing in Canada, big markets, small markets. Like I just think, having him stick around, and I'm talking about Myers, but also then you look at Hronek as the years go by and the experience that he's going to get. I mean, you have a young decor like that. Because then if you get rid of Hronek, when Myers is gone, when he retires or whatever ends up happening, that means you only have Marcus Pettersson. Unless you pick someone up in free agency or make a trade, that means you only have Marcus Pettersson to kind of like be the adult in the room,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way of thinking about it.
Well, I don't know. I guess I don't know how much, like how valuable that truly is, really. I mean, I'm not. That's the one thing. Like, we're not in the dressing room, right? We're not in the change room with these guys. We don't know what actually goes down and like how valuable this is. But I'm just going off what I hear, I guess.
I feel like defensive groups especially is something that you do kind of want a veteran, at least like, maybe not one on every line, but you want a couple on the bench. So whenever something happens, they can kind of see it and say something.
Yeah.
So, and then Marcus Pettersson seems like an absolute beauty, but I don't know if he's like, I actually don't know, but I kind of doubt he's like barking out like, oh, Villander, you got to switch there next time. Like, and then explaining to him what happened. That seems like more of a Myers thing. So I don't know. Maybe you try to, and I also don't know if Hronek's doing that, to be fair. But yeah, it does seem like you do need veterans, though, I think, on the defensive group. Offense, I think, is a little different, that you can kind of figure out on your own sometimes. But like for a defensive unit, like having a strong veteran presence is pretty big, especially for helping the young guys. Like Bouillon, I think Bouillon needs it right now. Not to say anything crazy, but I think he's an unreal player and he's going to be so good. But like defensively, he's definitely an adventure right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think also taking some of the heat off of him would be beneficial as well.
Mhm.
Like, having Willander also being an exciting defensive prospect, I think helps because, you're 20 years old, right? And you get traded for one of the best defensemen in league history to a market that is extremely passionate and at times crazy. So like you want to I feel like you want to calm that down a bit. And I don't know how you do that, but just for the sake of his own, like I know he's a big game player. Like all throughout his career, he's stepped up when a trophy's on the line or a medal's on the line. Like he's always been that guy. So he might be able to handle it. But this also could be a totally different beast. And I think you gotta look at that and be like, okay, how do we manage expectations on this kid? Even if we do think he's going to be the next Quinn Hughes, how do we keep that pressure off him a little bit, but also keep it on him enough where he believes it too,
Yeah.
That's got to be a whole, like, is that the coach's job? Whose job is that? And is that Myers and Hronek that are kind of like, or, scratching him for that game, like just to be like, okay, fans, like, he's not the best yet. He's not, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Get into it. No, I agree with you. I think it's actually a good way of like, maybe like tempering expectations a bit. He actually played with my buddy down in California. Like they're the same age group and played California hockey.
Oh, cool.
And they played together for a summer, I think. But he wasn't like, I guess when he was maybe 12 or 13, he wasn't close to being the best guy on the team.
Wow.
Like, he was like a second pair defenseman, and he was tiny. Like, he was so short. So if you think about it, hasn't been that long. It's been like 7 years or 8 years.
That's crazy.
Since then, he's only been on this crazy upward trajectory. But once you get to the NHL and you have to carry a line on your own, like, it gets super dicey. So I think this is kind of the perfect time to try to take. Yeah, you're right. You got to take the spotlight off him a bit. You got to let him figure it out on his own, and you can't build him up to be Quinn Hughes. Like, I know everyone's saying he's not Hughes, and at the same time they're expecting him to be Hughes. So you gotta just take it away from him. Like, he's gonna be great, and you just gotta let him get better.
Yeah, I wonder though, like how that works, because this is obviously not the first time a player's had extreme expectations in a big market, and I wonder if there's what a team does to kind of help curtail the immense pressure that they feel. I mean, when we got to wrap this up, so I won't get into this, but just kind of the whole Pettersson thing, where, signing that big contract, and then everywhere he walks in the city that he lives, everybody, for the most part, knows his paycheck and knows whether or not he's living up to it. Like, that's got to be a wild thing to weigh on your mental health, right? I mean, like, not you're not trying to say like boo hoo or anything, but like, just, that I can't imagine if everywhere, like, that's partially why the reason I don't show my face is because I kind of just want to be able to walk around freely. Not that people would be like, oh, but just going to a Canucks game and not having someone come up to me is awesome. And I kind of just, like, I can't even imagine if you're Pettersson or Booyam or, McDavid in Edmonton, although McDavid's never disappointing. The pressure that these guys would feel, like, I wonder just what systems in place for that, and is there an expert? Is there somebody who's been through that kind of pressure who can, like, give pointers, or is it like deal with it on your own time, go to therapy type thing? Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but I'd love to know more about that, because I think Booyam, even if he's got the toughest back on him and he can carry all this weight, he's still just 20 years old, and it's not going to be smooth sailing. Like, even if he's a fantastic player, there's going to be disappointing seasons. There's going to be disappointing shifts, games, and sure, he can handle that when it's just him and his team or him and his coach. But now he's got an entire province of loud, passionate people, some of which are ridiculous. Very small. I got to always say that. Very small group, but loud group that are ridiculous. Yeah. And someone's got to help him with that. So I don't know why we're talking about that. I guess it's just because the idea of trading Hronik freaks me out, maybe. And when Myers retires, like, who's going to be there? But maybe a couple seasons of Myers is enough to kind of help these kids out. I don't know.
Yeah, you got it. I'm happy if the Nucks try to go and maybe try to bring in like a Jamie Benn this summer or something. Like, try to overpay him just to be like a loud guy in the locker room, kind of like Kane this year, where you try to draw some of the attention over to this one guy who's been there and done that. But yeah, you do got to wrap this up. I'm sorry, I keep saying random things, but I feel like good, man. I feel like you look at how Minnesota handled their social media this year, and like how they were so excited to always get on camera. They're always making jokes on camera. It felt like it was a pretty fun team, like, on camera. And then he comes over here and he's trying to bring that over here. It does seem like the Canucks kind of have like there's like an internal thing where they don't want to get too involved with the media. And whether that's like an older thing or a newer thing, like, you kind of look how Pettersson used to be this like sassy, funny guy in the media. And then as soon as his play turns, like, everyone turns on him. And apparently that had a big weight on his mental health. So I think maybe there's some kind of thing in Vancouver where they don't try to, like, they don't want to be seen publicly too much, just to try to avoid that whole thing. Like, you don't want the media guessing too much, and you don't want them being right too much either.
Yeah. One thing about the Pettersson stuff too is, I think before his play dipped, his kind of quirkiness in interviews and his social media presence, where he was, in the studio with like Baby No Money at one point, and he was taking like there was like a professional photographer taking like good pictures of him, just like doing shit or in cool outfits. And the asterisk on this, because I don't know if this was him, but I know the Canucks at one point kind of made a statement about like video games being brought on the road. And I know he was young when that was going on. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
So,
Fortnite.
So like, yeah, even before his play dipped, I almost wonder if like just the team being like, hey man, you got to chill with social media. You got to be a bit more normal in your interviews. You can't game on the road. Like all these things, just you can't. The old guard, the old school, like people back then just kind of muting this young, weird guy. Cause that's why I call him the alien. Cause like when he first came in, his interviews, remember that time he just stared at a guy?
Yeah.
They were like, I can't remember what they said. They asked him some dumb question about like how the NHL is a lot more tough and whether that makes him want to go back to Sweden or something like that. It was a really dumb question. And he just stared at them.
Yeah.
With the what the fuck are you saying, bro? Like,
yeah.
And now, I mean, he's just like, oh yeah, it was a good game. I hate losing, or yeah, it's good to see us win. Like we needed the 2 points. Like, you know, kind of what Perek talked about at the World Juniors, just, you know, I guess it helps to control the narrative because the team you're playing for is a brand and there's a marketing team and all this. And, you know, the product is the players. It's their personality. It's who they are. So if they're saying weird stuff, that's harder to control. That's harder to, you know, to work with as a business. So I get it, but it's also like, you know, part of me is just like, let them be, you know?
Yeah, let him be. Let Boeser be. He's such a funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that he's so confident too. Like from what I hear, he's like, oh, don't like, I can't remember. What was it? Garland that said apparently like they were playing in some, do you know what I'm talking about? They were playing.
Oh yeah. World Championships.
Yeah. And Boeser was like, oh no, we'll win, dude. Don't worry. I always win.
I always win.
Yeah. Like to say that to a veteran NHLer too, before you're even in the league.
Yeah.
Like that's funny.
Also to say that after you get swept in the first round is a little crazy, but.
And to say that when you're like you have like nothing to show for it yet.
Yeah.
You know, like you're just a kid. And
you're on an ELC.
And to say it like even more so, dude, I keep adding shit. To say that and then also not be like hated after for Garland to go on and like joke about that story in a positive way. Cause like saying something that confident, you also risk coming off as like a complete tool.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like this kid's clearly got some like charisma or something going for him. Don't let him be. Don't mess with him.
Yeah. There's definitely like if you bring in McKenna and you have Boeser, I feel like those two would get along in that kind of way. And then if you have the black skate jersey, I think that kind of is this new genre of Canucks of just like cocky young guys who don't really care about the media.
Yeah, dude, hold up. Okay, we do have to end this, but just one last thing. Okay, this might actually be a good thing to end on because you said something about, you know, the optimism around the future right now, even though it's hard to see sometimes. Just imagine, right? Okay, whoever they draft, assuming it's McKenna or Stenberg, imagine Rogers Arena Game 1.
Oh man.
Like what would that do for the city, especially McKenna, just because he's the more popular name? Like, could you imagine?
It would be so fired up. I think everyone would have a jersey. It would be a national broadcast. It would probably be mayhem. Like it would be ridiculous, I think.
His picture would be everywhere downtown, on every bus stop, everywhere.
Everyone, like non-Nucks fans would know McKenna. He'd be a household name by the end of the summer. He'd be everywhere. It'd be huge.
Dude, my hopes are getting too high.
Fuck. It might happen though. It might happen. I remember in 2023, I wanted Bedard. 2019, I wanted Jack Hughes. 2018, I wanted Darlene.
2018, I wanted Darlene, and that ended, I think,
ended up pretty well, actually.
Was that Pettersson or Hughes? That
was Quinn. That was Quinn.
Yeah, okay, that worked out at least.
Yeah, that worked out.
Well, I don't know now.
Yeah, it worked some way. I did something.
Yeah, did something.
Better than you, Levy, I guess.
Anyway, okay, yeah, definitely better than you, Levy. Let's end it here.
Okay.
I'm gonna say goodbye. Appreciate you coming on. Definitely got to have you come back on again. It's probably closer or after the draft, I think. Would be ideal, or maybe sometime in between that.
All right.
If anyone's still listening, thank you for listening. Go check out Big Head Hockey's YouTube channel. I'm sure you already know his Twitter, but the YouTube channel's newer and it's awesome. He's doing great work over there. Yeah, man. Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't got anything. Yeah, it's been a great podcast.
We go on for another 30 minutes.
Yeah. Talking about William again.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Smile. All right.
I'll see you later, dude.
See ya.